Hello and welcome to the Balance Babe podcast. So, today I have a very special guest. This is Alyssa, and she is the co founder of Align PEMF Mat. And I cannot wait for you guys to hear her story. I recently found her PEMF mats at a conference, actually, and I got one for myself, and they are absolutely incredible. Learned a little bit more about how she created this company and just her background, and yeah, I can't wait to talk and dive into the science and everything that you have to share for us.
Avery, thank you so much for having me on. I'm so grateful that we met at the conference and that you are loving your experience so far.
Yeah, absolutely. Can you tell us a little bit more about just like your background and kind of how you got into this? And also for those listening, I'm sure you're wondering like what is PEMF? So let's touch on that a little bit too to give you some background.
All right, so two questions there. A little bit about my story. I'm a former aerospace engineer. I got really sick early on in my career field in my mid 20s. Western medical doctors didn't have answers for me. Fast forward a decade, no one was connecting the fact that I had had multiple gut issues as a child and the fact that they were resulting in neurological symptoms in my adult age. So I was losing limb function, chronic migraine headaches. I couldn't keep food down. I'm at the ER. They're doing MRIs in my head, MRIs in my neck, looking for tumors and blocked ventricles and telling me nothing's wrong, but clearly something was very wrong. I went, I outprocessed from that government job, and I went on over a decade-long journey as a researcher and a scientist, learning from the brightest minds in the field of functional and integrative medicine, how to heal myself. And fast forward again, another 5 years, I've been practicing as a functional diagnostic nutritionist, and I think you share the same credential as well. It's literally been the icing on the cake for me, not only to give myself some answers to missing puzzle pieces in my health history, my own pain to purpose story, but also taking that knowledge that I've gained and really helping others understand how their body's operating and find, resolution, find peace in their own body. So that is really what has brought me to this place and space, is that I want to help others not suffer and struggle for as many years. I mean, this has been going on, the gut issue, since I was a child. I started gymnastics at 4 years old, and all of the stress that I put on myself I would call myself a recovering type A, but if you talk to my husband, Mike, who started Align with me, he'll say I'm very much still a type A, but learning how to manage and balance my nervous system stimulation and the sympathetic overdrive. So herein is the last 5 years that we created a tool that we so desperately needed for ourselves to find stress relief and improve sleep quality. And we birthed Align out of a passion to help more people than our clinical practice could reach.
Yeah, I absolutely love that. And like touching on the nervous system regulation piece is so important because, as you and I both know, like when you start to try to turn to this functional approach and holistic approach to healing our physical symptoms, you realize you come to a point where you can do all the supplements, you can do all the different lifestyle and diet changes, and there's still that one piece that you have to address that a lot of people have a lot of resistance towards, and that is our nervous system in dealing with our
Mm.
emotional body and trauma and all these things. So I think it's so cool that you've created a tool that you don't even need to meditate. You don't even need to know how to meditate or do anything. You can just be and just like lay on it. And this isn't, we're not going to talk about the mat the whole time, but it's like your journey and how we've been able to utilize these tools to help our healing. Can you talk about like that shift for you of when you realized like maybe there was something else to the physical when you started to heal your own symptoms?
Oh, for sure. I mean, when I out processed from my government job, and literally as I'm driving away from that experience, I felt like a weight was being lifted off my body, like a veil was literally being removed. And I was telling you, I had chronic severe migraine headaches, never had headaches in my life. So all of this kind of developed out of nowhere, and it was debilitating. And it was really scary because the first time it happened, I'm literally on the floor of my office in the bathroom, and I was just purging. Like I could not keep anything in my body. I couldn't lift my head up. I was in so much pain. I literally thought I was dying. And if you talk to Mike, he'll fondly make fun of me because I'm on the super logical side. I'm an engineer. Everything's been very black and white in my life, like A plus B equals C. I get an answer. And he's the feeler, right? He's a born medical intuitive. So he always thinks it's funny because he's like, you've always been intuitive. You've had a different set of skills that you haven't like tapped into that. But I do remember when I was having an episode. So this started happening quite frequently. That like the little voice you listen to, it's very subtle but powerful, and it's like if you don't leave here, you're gonna die. And as I'm driving away from that job, all of these things are starting to resolve in real time, but I didn't know what that meant then. So it took, again, me growing up and going on this decade-long journey and seeking and having this inner awareness that I was never supposed to be in the military-industrial complex. I'm here on this planet to help and serve and people to improve their health, not to harm them. So that was really the overriding I wouldn't say it was like from a trauma base, but really having a deeper understanding of my purpose on this planet. A lot of the symptoms, I think the nervous system dysregulation stems even sooner. I mean, we can talk about the science of like when you're in the womb with mom and what is going on in that lifestyle. How is that relationship when baby is in utero, so that our nervous system is regulated to our parents, especially our mom, because of that connection. So these things are long before we even have control over what's happening in our lives. And the tools that we have now, I mean, I'm so grateful that in my journey I had been exposed to many technologies, and I really want to let other people know what is out there so they can share it. And it's not even about buying something. I mean, we're talking about PEMF. You asked what PEMF is, and for most people that you could sit next to on a plane or anywhere, you just walk out in public and you're like, do you know what a PEMF mat is? Or just PEMF in general, which stands for pulsed electromagnetic field therapy. They've been exposed to it their entire life. If you go walk outside barefoot on any natural earth surface, you are bathing yourself in this natural PEMF frequency of the earth. Now, the problem is that we're all wearing rubber-soled shoes and living inside on concrete foundations, and we're not exposed to these natural earth frequencies. And this is where a lot of the modern day imbalances and the nervous system dysregulation predominantly that we're seeing that results in a body that's not at ease, and what's what we call dis-ease.
Right. Yeah. That's so powerful. And I think like we talk about grounding and getting in nature and how that's healing, and it's easy to get caught up, and you'll be like, oh, putting my feet on the earth for 10 minutes a day, like how is this actually helping? But I think it's cool, like you have this perspective, like your science, logical, rational brain is like, oh, I know the answers to that. And when we first talked, I think you talked me through that and the actual frequency and how you've put the natural healing powers of the earth into this thing that you can lay on and still get those same benefits, especially for people that are like, you're very busy, you are, juggling life with kids and work and schedules, and, having something you can lay on. If it's raining outside, like you might not be grounding all the time, or if you live in a high rise apartment complex or in a city or something, you really have to be more intentional and try even harder to,
Mm-hmm.
you know, get that grounding balance in. So can you talk a little bit more about the science behind that and like how you've been able to pull the natural into this thing?
Yeah, and that's so important to acknowledge. I mean, we are huge proponents of nature. Nature didn't make a mistake. We wouldn't have evolved and been on this planet as long as we have without her, right? Like if we didn't adapt, we'd die. So, huge proponent of tools of going outside, getting full spectrum sunlight, aligning our circadian rhythm, grounding on natural earth surfaces. This is all free and has been provided for us. But therein lies the issue, because up until about 100 years ago, we were always grounded. We didn't have rubber-soled shoes. Our homes were either on the earth's surface, because we were a lot, even prior to 100 years, a lot of nomadic tribes.
Yeah.
We were walking, either building our homes on wood or dirt surfaces. So we're connected to this natural pulse, this natural frequency. So what's really cool is when you see an animal on our device, and pets aren't subjected to the placebo effect, and you turn the frequencies on, they literally will push you out of the way to get on the alignment
My dog
or a
loves
PEMF.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah, she'll lay her head on it, and she loves it. It's so funny.
So they know what feels good for them. They're grounded with all four paws, and we bring them inside into these same concrete foundations and non-natural surfaces, and they need to be bathed in these frequencies too. This allows for us to bring regulation into our body. And why that's so powerful is because these frequencies help the body reduce inflammation. So the scientific side of this, and so everyone knows this is not woo-woo, most of the research was done back in the 60s by NASA. And when they put their astronauts into the vacuum of space, they weren't subjected to gravity, so they were trying to prevent osteoporosis. So working, with high intensity PEMF devices to ping the cellular membranes, uptake nutrition, detoxify waste, and accelerate a healing response so they wouldn't have fractures when they came back to the earth. But this low intensity PEMF, where this really shines, is when we're subjected to the chronic daily stressors of life and everything that we're being exposed to. You just mentioned, mom with kids, everyone's juggling all of these plates. We're trying to do so much. And not to mention the level of toxicity in the environment from 5G, Wi-Fi, air, food, water contamination. Like, this is just something that's ubiquitous, and we can't escape it. So we need this is an aligned mat as a modern solution to a modern problem, where you now can keep all of these plates spinning. You don't have to meditate, do breath work, check out from your day-to-day life to bathe yourself in these frequencies to find regulation and homeostasis in your body.
Yeah, I love that. I've actually been using, so I got it, I think a month ago now, and there's different settings, which I want to get into, like how you created those, but I'll do the relaxation or visualization setting in the morning. And if I'm able to, I'll do like a meditation. I'll listen to a guided meditation while I lay on it. And then at night, I love, like, I'll set the heat setting. I'll go take a shower and I'll come back and it's like nice and hot and it's infrared. And then I
Mm-hmm.
have it on the sleep setting, and sometimes I shouldn't admit this, but I'm working late at night because I'm just in that season of life. And I'll
Guilty.
just, yes, I have my EMF blocking, like, laptop pad, which we'll talk about too. And so I'll just work on the mat, and it keeps me grounded, and then my body still has those cues. I have my blockers, so I'm not getting blasted with the white light right before bed.
Mm-hmm.
But it's just great. You don't have to be like completely zoned out, like you said. It's like versatile. So I love it. She's my bestie, and she just like stays under my bed when I'm not using her, and then I'll I'll put her on top. So
Easy access.
yeah, exactly. Can we talk about why you chose? Because you can change your frequencies on it, but you can also change the settings to certain
Mhm.
frequencies. Can we talk about what those are and what that means?
Yeah, so we wanted to make our users in charge of their frequency destiny. And this is super important to us because um, I'm a researcher, right? So the bulk body of the research came from thousands of PubMed documents. We did 2.5 years of R&D before we even created the Align mat, and then sourcing all of the components. This is what makes our mat different than any other low intensity device on the market, is the fact that we have swapped out all of the components and added in our components coming from, like, we have a heat sheet that's coming out of Germany. So we don't use any copper wire in the mat. It's actually a graphene heating sheet in the mat. So it produces no dirty electricity or EMFs. Only you're getting that pure DNA harmonizing frequency from large copper coils that are producing true sine wave PEMF. And I don't want to get too in the weeds, but sine wave, think about like ripples in a pond if you were to throw like a pebble in a pond. So nature doesn't work in straight lines. There are different waveforms. And again, NASA did a lot of this research on like square wave, which is just think about a square, very sharp edges
Yeah.
for pinging our cells. So think about every cell as like a little battery, and we're trying to help charge our battery. And PEMF is like a human charging pad. So we charge all of our devices and think that's totally normal, but we forget about number one, we have to
Yeah.
charge ourselves too. We are electric beings. So alignment is a recharging pad. In the low intensity spectrum, we leverage this beautiful sine wave to help calm our nervous system, because this is the master regulator. When you tell the nervous system that it's safe, it sends these chemical signals from our brain into our body for us to take off this invisible armor we wear all day long.
Hmm.
So what that looks like is increased fluid flow, tissue oxygenation, nutrient absorption, detoxification. And when your cells are operating at 100%, you sleep better. So that's where we're seeing huge changes in our clinical research, which is also something that we're doing different than no one else is doing in the low intensity space. We're actually doing clinical research to substantiate. We're increasing not only deep sleep quality in a single session, which I'm hoping that over the last month you've
Oh
noticed
yeah,
some profound changes in
I
your
sleep
sleep.
great.
Yeah. So that's number one. And then two, pretty immediately, we're seeing changes in heart rate variability. And for anyone that doesn't know what HRV is, it's the distance in between heartbeats. And the longer that distance, the more able we are to cope with stress. It's literally building our resilience to handle anything that we face in our day to day life, whether it's someone cutting us off in traffic or we're getting exposed to some chemical toxicity. It's literally our body's ability to combat and cope with those things without being um, like overreactive, if that makes sense.
Yeah,
So
I love that. I think
I don't
that's
know
so
if I
cool.
answered specifically the program, so I can get into that, but
Yeah.
I really wanted
Yeah,
to
I think it
kind
would
of
be
get
cool.
broad.
Yeah, that was a good background on it. I think because there's like 8 different settings, and then like I said, you can change the frequencies to whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So can you talk about like why a lower frequency is targeted towards one thing versus a higher frequency?
Yes, so we have manual settings 1 to 50 hertz, and this is predominantly because this is, again, where the bulk body of the research was. For our users, they get a secret frequency list that talks about specific and balanced states. And this isn't our research. This, again, is coming from hundreds of published, actually thousands. They had 971 published PubMed documents in 2025 alone. That's
Wow.
how much people are researching PEMF now and bringing it into the consumer spectrum, because before it was just reserved for, again, the astronauts and, you know, a very close group of people, elite athletes and things. So I'm glad that we finally have this advantage, us consumers, because everyone can leverage this technology. The real rock star of our mat and why we chose to add the 8 programs in, though, they're called organic Schumann resonance mimicking technology. So these 8 programs are the harmonics of the natural Schumann resonance of the earth. So
Mhm.
again, those beautiful frequencies that we get when we go out and we walk barefoot. No one is going to go out naked and sleep on the grass for 7 or 8 hours to recharge their body like we had in decades past. So again, this is giving us the advantage of doing this in our homes in a 15-minute session. Now, where you're talking about like a lower frequency, so like that very first P1 frequency, 1.2 hertz, your hertz is the pulse rate. So 1.2 pulses per second. And this matches with our brain waves. So delta brain waves for deep sleep are from zero point 0.4 hertz to 4 hertz. So I don't want to get too sciencey, but again, when we're talking about helping relax your body and get deep sleep, we wanted to really be able to match brainwave states and mood states. When you said concentration, you meditate on your mat, and visualization, that's matching alpha brainwave states in the brain. So there's very specific frequencies that we can leverage, again, as a tool externally to help you have this experience internally.
I love that. Yeah, I actually have my little magnet here. They when you get a mat, it comes with a little magnet and you can actually put it on your mat and see it pulsing. So like she said, if the pulse is set to like the lowest one, it'll go doot 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 like once a second. And then if it's higher, it starts getting crazier because it's pulsing more per second. So it is really cool. And one thing the guy told me when I tried them out is like, he's like, I notice when I have people on the mat, because you get to try them at the conferences. And he said once when he turns up the mat to the higher setting, people start to get more like chatty, like they just have more ideas and they're more buzzy. And then he lowers it down and they're like in a meditation basically. And I just thought that was so cool because it just shows how powerful it is and just how
Mm-hmm.
frequencies work. And so then you also have to think about our environment, like where else are we being exposed to these
Mm-hmm.
frequencies in our daily lives? And I think like EMFs and radio waves and all these things we're being blasted by, electricity even. So let's talk about that. Like what is an EMF? Because a lot of my clients and audience, they have no idea. And I try to like teach people, but it's one of those things you hear all the time.
Blasted is a good word for it. We are absolutely being inundated 24/7 with non native EMF frequencies, so different from pulsed electromagnetic field therapy, which is DNA harmonizing. Electromagnetic fields that are coming from high voltage power lines, Wi Fi, 5G, are DNA damaging to us. And why is that? So, when we were just talking about the frequencies in the mat, we're leveraging 1 to 50 hertz and a very specific pulse rate. When we're talking about 5G, G is gigahertz. So not just a hertz, this is multiple magnitudes faster.
Wow.
So, and if anyone like thinks about like the Hulk, like the gamma rays, like how that put radiation in his body, like we were not supposed to be subjected to these frequencies. The Earth has filtered a lot what we get from our ionosphere, what's in the vacuum of space that hits the Earth's surface. We do not get exposed to a lot of that. The Earth acts as a great filter. So when we started implementing radio frequencies back in the early 1900s, and subsequently every time we've implemented a new higher technology, you will see a global epidemic of sorts,
Yeah.
an illness, things that happen because, again, this is electric, this is electromagnetic. We are these beings that are subjected to and very sensitive to frequencies. So when things change, it takes a while for our bodies to catch up. I honestly think with everything that we've been exposed to, it is a wonder that the human race is still around. I think we are magnificent creatures, and the ability that we have to transmute everything and overcome is pretty incredible.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think one thing, so I actually bought an EMF detector
Smart.
recently because I just wanted to see, and I was like, oh God. Because once you start checking around your house, like I always tell clients, I'm like, make sure you are not sleeping next to like electricity plugged in because
Hmm.
like we're more susceptible to EMFs when we're sleeping, when we're in that subconscious state. And
Yeah.
so if you have your Wi-Fi router in your bedroom or you have your phone charging plugged in within 6 feet of your head, then you're affecting your energy system while you're sleeping, and that'll dysregulate your nervous system too. So that's why I think it's like even more beneficial and important to have your routines and practices, getting sunlight, putting your feet in the ground, utilizing these tools if you can, like PEMF mats or PEMF mats, so that you're able to offset
Hmm.
everything else you're being blasted with.
Yeah.
And now there's all these like devices and EMF shielding things and phone cases and laptop cases like I mentioned. But I think, is there anything that you recommend that can help you protect yourself from these things?
It's just so funny. We create a problem and then we create another solution to the problem, more
Right.
things that we just need to add into our life. And I kind of think about my grandmother's time, like simplicity. She's 92 years old and like grew up without electricity and she had to go outside her house to use the bathroom in an outhouse. It's just crazy. She raised on a farm and it just seems like, she's 92 and she's super healthy, nothing going on with her, completely cognizant. And I'm like, okay, when you think about the earliest upbringing and what she was exposed to and building her microbiome, so like the gut bacteria and everything that she had, that has set her up for the rest of her life to be more resilient to everything that she's being exposed to now. And it really actually kind of makes me sad to see the outlook of our kids, the next generation that's coming up, all of the chronic illness that we are seeing just because they didn't have that good first start that
Yeah.
generations previously did. Because, I don't want to, that's a whole nother can of worms, but talking about, soil and how we're growing and raising food and all of that. But the biggest issue that I think that we're seeing right now is with everyone being so connected is being exposed to frequencies, DNA damaging frequencies. So I do highly recommend, especially, not just being in a city wise, but if you're flying and you're exposed to radiation at altitude and in the airports, we have EMF shielding hats that are actually not made of silver, which tends to be nanotized and can leach into your skin and also be harmful for the environment. We
Wow.
use a proprietary blend of metals that actually, if you wear it in the like little millimeter wave detector at the airport, your head disappears and they're like, take off your hat. So yeah, you can use your EMF detector on that and watch it drop to zero. So it's pretty fun. It not only blocks, but it being the nerds that we are, we actually imprint. So stainless steel is and brass are one of the few, and you can see my medallion as well. One of the few metals that can be imprinted and hold frequencies forever. We actually leverage radionics to imprint our hats and our medallions with these frequencies as well to protect our biofield. So it's not just blocking, it's also helping us cope again with everything in our modern landscape.
That's so cool. Yeah, I think you guys just came out with those too, right?
That we were, yeah, we just launched these for Black Friday. So these are super
So
special. If
pretty.
I can talk about them for a quick second, there's so
Sure.
much technology in this. Our friend is a master metal worker and welder, and he took his passion into creating jewelry. So we commissioned him to make this piece. If anyone on is familiar with sacred geometry, this is the Metatron cube, and then it's inset with the flower of life, which are again protective to our bodies. If you've looked at any of the research or biogeometry and how that can actually help improve our resilience and decrease inflammation systemically. These are hematite stones. They're actually magnetic stones as well. And then the central stone is super special. It's not doing it justice here in the light. There's actually a vein of copper going through it, and there's two different stones. These are mined only in one place in the world, in Kingman, Arizona, and this is actually turquoise. So it's the
Oh,
only
wow.
place in the world that there's a vein of copper that goes through it and turns the turquoise black, or this really beautiful, vibrant purple color. So yeah.
Wow.
So
So cool.
that's that for the art. So like everything that we do, even the mats, like they are art pieces in themselves. And we understand if you enjoy something and you find it beautiful, that you're going to use it more often, and there it's going to provide the benefits to you.
Yeah.
So that's really important to us. And then we add the technology into it that's again subtle but powerful, where this codex on the back of the medallion, I don't know if you got to see this at the show.
Mm-mm.
It's encapsulated in an affinity symbol. It has a Gabavori code for protection, and then
Mm-hmm.
we actually broadcast frequency to this to harmonize your biofield. So everyone gets the same code. So no matter where you are in the world, if you're wearing the pendant, the codex, it's being broadcast and bathing you in these positive frequencies.
Wow, I love that. And I just have to say, like, when I first learned about the mat and your company and all of that, I'm always very skeptical, especially when there's like a lot of different companies, like
You
it
should
has
be.
different names and
There's a
whatever.
lot out
Yeah,
there.
especially in this world. Um, and I asked the rep that I talked to, I was like, I want to see the data. Like I want to see the research. Like, can you send me whatever? And I remember she put us in a group chat and she was like, hey, Avery has some questions.
Yeah.
And I was like, listen, I've been doing some research on your competitors and like the material and like okay, it is a little bit more expensive than the other ones that I was looking at. Like, why is that? And you knew exactly like how to answer my question and you gave me the information. Like they have clinical trials on their website and all of the research. And obviously as an engineer, an aerospace engineer, like you know your shit, you know what you're talking about. So
Yeah,
um
non-practicing, but this is something that I've been a super skeptic, especially in the world of woo.
yeah.
There's a lot out there. So first and foremost, you are your own best barometer. And
Mm-hmm.
this is what, as clinicians too, we always would work with our clients. Like, you know best for you. I could never walk a moment in your shoes, and neither could any practitioner out there. So it's so tough when you're working with someone, and especially in the landscape today, a lot in Western med, they give this diagnosis and they tell someone that this is how it is, and they know nothing about the constitution of that person. They've met them maybe for 5 minutes.
Right.
So I always want to leverage the fact that you know what feels best for you. And that's why demos are so powerful for us, because when people feel the technology viscerally in their body, you're going to know if it's for you or not. And there's a ton of tools out there, and we don't claim to be the only tool for everyone. We stack so well with other technologies too. It's not just like one tool for everything.
Yeah.
I don't know if you're familiar with like Avicen Medical, where you can put your hands and it creates a heating effect in your hand, and it's systemically helping open up all the capillaries in your body for
Wow.
blood flow. We stack with them Brain Tap, which is like a neural gym, and it helps rewrite neural synaptic connections in the brain. Great for people that have TBIs, or like just learning it, like kind of all walks of life. So this is what's so cool about the realm that we get to play in. It's not any one thing, but how do we get to stack these things to help make us superhuman in a modern lifestyle that's literally just trying to drain our energy?
Yeah. Yeah, I love that you said that. And I think especially when someone's starting to be interested in functional medicine and healing, it's so easy to get overwhelmed by like go to a biohacking conference and you're going to be like, "Holy crap, what
Yeah,
oh my gosh,
so
like
much.
what am I doing wrong? What do I need to be doing?" And it's like I always tell people like there's multiple paths to Rome. Like there's so many ways to heal and reach your health goals and feel better and take care of yourself. It's just like what resonates with you. And for some people, that's why we have all these different modalities.
This is why we have these conversations, because it's like
Exactly.
we're an N of one, right? Like I've had a different subset of life experiences. I have different genetics. Like we are
Yep.
all very different. So this bio individuality where you're giving yourself permission and the free reign to choose what's going to work best for you right now.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. It's so cool. So, yeah, thank you so much for all of that and all of your expertise. I'm sure we could dive into the weeds even more, but we can leave it at that unless there's anything else specific you want to share.
I think this is a really beautiful ending, and just leaving your listeners with the fact that you have everything that you need right here in this moment to heal yourself. Your body is healing every moment of every day. You have healthy, beautiful new cells that are replicating and dividing for your highest and best. So just trust the infinite and innate wisdom in your body to know that you have the next step to make yourself feel whole and to really step into the purpose that you were meant to be on this planet to serve.
Hmm. Thank you for that. That's beautiful. And how can everyone find you?
So we're pretty much MyAlignMat anywhere. So it's myalignmat.com. We're on Instagram at MyAlignMat as well as YouTube and Facebook. Our customer service is amazing. Oftentimes you will talk to my partner Mike or I directly. We really care, and if you have any questions, we love skeptics, but we really just want to help you walk out your wellness journey.
Yeah, amazing. And I have a code as well. My code is Avery. So if you want to check that out, I'll put all the links in the show notes. And I obviously have one. So if you have questions about it, let me know. I'm about to go lay on mine right now.
Yeah.
I'm inspired again. It's literally right next to me on my bed. But
5 minute,
um,
2 hour nap. Go recharge.
yeah, exactly. Thank you again so much, Alyssa. Appreciate you and your time. And can't wait for everyone to listen to this.
Thank you. Appreciate you.